In this video, I'm going to talk about different timeline components which is available in any model-driven app. Just to take an example, I'll be taking an example of Customer Service Hub application for Dynamics 365 customer service. Now, just to give you a brief on the concepts on what a timeline is basically a wall which shows you information about various activities or notes or post either posted by a user or by the system. Now, there are different activity types which we can see on the timeline. Some of them are listed over here. Now, it can be uh, an appointment, it can be a fax, email, letter, task, Teams chat, conversation, session, phone call, code close, task, Teams chat, portal comment, order close, case resolution, and many more. Now, the post which you see over here, the post can be either a user post or it can be an auto post, which can be done by the system automatically. And some of the posts can even have an attachment attached to it. So, just to show you how the timeline component looks like, now I'm in Customer Service Hub application. So, this is basically a model driven app for Dynamics 365 customer service, and I'm inside one of the case. Now here in this section, you will see a timeline component. Now what I've done is, as there is a very small real estate over here, I have blown that up and I've created a separate section. Now how to create a separate section? You just open this particular form in Power Apps and you add a new tab. So here what I've done, I have added one new tab called as timeline, and dragged and dropped the timeline component over here. Now, what are the options you get when you do all these things? In the timeline component, if you see here, there is an option to show all the record types like activities, notes, and posts. You can even put a profile picture of the person who is putting that post, activities, or note. Their options are always show, always hide. I'll just select it as always show. And now here in advance, you will have quick entry record type. You can sort by descending or ascending order. You can display the layout, whether it's roomy or cozy, which I'm going to show you in the application in some time. And also you can show how many records should be displayed on the page. Now, like that, there are many other options which you can put in the timeline. Now, there are bookmarks, there are attachment preview, there are expanding of all records by default, enabling the search bar, and from an activity perspective, as we saw in the diagram, there were like various activities listed. Now, currently over here, there are much more activity than it was listed in the diagram. Now, here you have campaign activity, campaign response, opportunity close, phone call, order close, code close. So it all depends on what kind of application is installed within your Dynamics 365 tenant. Now, if you have a sales related application, then you will see something called as opportunity or quote. If you have a marketing based application like customer service, customer insights, then you have campaign activity, campaign response. If you have something for service, then you will have service activity. If you have something on project service, then you have project service approval, and then customer voice alert, customer service, customer voice survey invite, customer voice survey response. So all these options can be turned on or off. So if I don't want to have Teams chat displayed, what I can do, I can just select over here and then I can uncheck it. I can even select the default form, what should be rendered when a Teams chat gets rendered in the timeline. So all these things are configurable. You have an option to enable the user post. You have an option to enable simple auto post, enable post attachments as well. So post attachment, I'll give an example. So take for example, if you have an automatic record creation setup within your environment, then if someone sends out an email, then the subject line and the body line get transferred into the subject and description column automatically. But if you attach any file with that email, that attachment can also be retrieved using the post attachment functionality. And in order to do some functionality on the post, you can like or unlike, you can put a reply or a delete button. So those all things can be done. So what you do once you're done with this, you just click on save and publish, and then this form will get published. Just to show you, as I told you that there is a form based on the timeline. It is all rendered over here, but then I have created a separate section called as timeline. So let's give a sufficient real estate and let's see what it contains. So if, as you see over here, this is a timeline section. So this part is the entire timeline section, and every timeline has some or the other components added over here. Now, this can be of various activity, post, notes, anything. And it can be manually posted or it can be posted by the system as well. The plus button which you see over here, you can create a timeline record. Now, as you see the classification is activity, note, and post. So these are the three types. Within activity, you can have all other types like email, phone call, task, booking alert, portal comment, session, customer voice alert, and there can be many more. Now, these all things can be configured in the form over here. Okay. So whatever things you put over here in under activities, those will be displayed over here. So if you tick campaign response, then campaign response will be displayed. If you do not want case resolution, you can untick this box. So this is how you can configure all these elements. Now, there is an option to bookmark this. So you can bookmark this. You can add a bookmark based on your view preference. You can do that. You can filter the content. Okay. So when you click on filter on the left hand side, you will see something called as a filter pane. If you just want to see only the notes, you select notes. If you just want to see only posts, then select post. Or you are interested only in activities, then display only the activity. Now, similarly, you can have an activity type as well. So if you just want to show phone call, you can put it over there. Then it also shows you activity status based on status, whether it is active or closed. Then status reason and modified date. So if you want to see only activity which was posted in the last, say, 24 hours, you can select that. Okay. And this is how you basically configure the filters. So let me remove the filter. So I've removed the filter and I can see all the records now. Now here, I can expand all the records. Now, if you see here, this record, this is not expanded. If I click on view mode, then I can see more content. So it is shown in a compact row. So if I want to expand, I'll just click on expand all record, and all the records which is displayed over here will get expanded. And you can just scroll down and then it will show you all the records. Then you can sort this timeline from older to newer, newer to older. You can see the display as roomy or cozy. So if I click on cozy, then it will start shrinking. So it will display in like 2 or 3 lines, and it gives you like a compressed layout format. Now here you can add an activity. So let me add one activity called as a task. Okay, so I can add one task. So I'll call this as call Neon Smith, and I'll say call at 4 p.m. today. So this is one of the tasks which I'm adding, and I can put some due date, and I'll just click on save and close. The moment you do that, a task will get created in the backend and it will get attached to this record. Surface Pro 9 keeps on restarting. So that's one of the case which we have created, and it will create this task item. Now, if I click a note, add a note, I can add some note. I can say that Microsoft updates, Microsoft will update CRM app tomorrow Central Time. Please all your records. So this is some kind of a notes which you will create, and you can even attach an attachment. I won't do that. I will just add a note just to show you how the note will look like. So we have added an task, and we have added a note. So you see the icon. This is an icon for task. This is an icon for note. Now other thing what we can do, we can post something. So I'm just posting something. Okay, so I'm just telling that, okay, hey, and then if I put at the rate, I can point actually to the user. Okay, so if I want to just give Alex a shout out, I can say, hey Alex, thanks for confirming that this case is similar to another case in our system. And what is that case? I will use a reference of hash. Okay, the moment I put a hash reference, I will be able to point records within my application. So let me just say, uh, I'll just start typing in, and then it will start giving me all the records. So I'll just say, oh, this is related to maybe Surface Pro 4 charger not charging. And then it gives you that reference. And if I click on add post, then what it has done, it has referenced a user, which is Alex, and then it has referenced the case item which is already existent within the system, and then I'm just pointing out that this case which was created, it is somewhat linked to this case. Okay, so I've established that linkages. So this is how I can add a post. Now this is user defined post, so user has posted, and that's why you can see this icon. Now I can like the post, I can reply, I can delete, and I can do a whole bunch of other actions on this. Now as I scroll down, you will see various things over here. Now this indicates a phone call, this indicates a note. Then there are some other things which is like which we have added manually or through Power Automate. So if you see this section, Surface Pro 9 was assigned to Girish Uppal. This I added it using uh, say Power Automate. I can even customize it. Okay. Now if you just scroll down, you can see text 222. This was also I added through Power Automate. Now, the line above here, this one was automatically added by the system once the user got changed. Okay. So take for example, if the owner is Girish and if I want to change the owner to Alex, then what I'm doing is I'm assigning this particular case record to Alex and I click on save, see what happens in the notes over here. You will see that this record will get attached to Alex. So Alex will be the owner for this record and Girish won't own this record anymore. So it is just saving, and then once it is saved, you will see that information in the notes section. Now let me open another tab and I'll show you what are the things which you can do. You can also post your own custom information in the timeline by using Power Automate. So I have this Power Automate created over here. I'll just click on edit and I'll show you this. I'm going to cover this in my another demo, but I'm just want to show you how this will look like. So what you need to do, if any row is added, modified or deleted in your system, then you can add a new row. Now here, if you click on add a new row, then there is a table called as posts. Okay. So if you select post, then there is a table called as post, and then within that post you can actually post whatever content you want into the system, like the text one. Like you see text 222, how it came in this timeline is through here. If you see this one, this I posted it manually. So this is how you can also automatically post. Now as you see that this one which we changed the owner from Girish to Alex, the timeline should reflect those information. So I just refresh the screen and here it says Surface Pro 9 was assigned to Alex by Girish. I can resolve the case and then from here also it will start posting into the timeline. So I'll just say you have 3 open activity. I'm good with it. I'll just say put the resolution as okay. And this case is now resolved. Now, this is also one of the action because the status has changed from open to closed now or resolved. Now, once it is resolved, you will see the timeline getting refreshed and then you will see that all the task has been marked as closed and just refresh this. There is another option to refresh the timeline. You can click over here and then you can click on refresh timeline as well. So once you refresh the timeline, you will see that all the outstanding items which was assigned over here got closed. Okay, because there were three open items which was existent. Now I can even reactivate the case. So I'm just reactivating the case. So what I'm doing is like I'm trying to change the status of the case, and then I see that the case was reactivated by Girish on so and so date. So I see all those things posting on the timeline. So that's all about timeline. So in timeline, you can post, you can see the activities, you can see the user defined post, you can see the system defined post, you can add in notes. So, and you can even search the timeline as well. Okay. So if I just type Alex, then I should be able to see all the references which are linked to Alex. So timeline is basically a wall of information which gives you the audit trace of what's happening within the system for this particular case record. Now, this is attached to a case record, but the timeline can be attached to any of the component. It can be related to an account, it can be related to contact, or it can be attached to any custom entity as well. So that's it, folks. This is all about timeline component, and how do we utilize those timeline component. In the upcoming video, I'm going to try to cover how do we actually create a post item using Power Automate, and how can we disable the automatically created case items, automatically created post items by the system.